Have you ever felt the world spinning too fast? Your heart caught in a storm that never seems to calm. That restless turmoil inside, the endless chase for what seems just out of reach. What if I told you the secret to true peace lies not in holding on tighter, but in letting go completely? The power of detachment is not about giving up or turning cold. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of expectation and surrendering to the flow of life. It is a radical act of courage and trust, a rebellion against the noise that screams at us to grab, control, and possess. In this relentless chaos that defines our modern existence, detachment shines like a beacon, guiding us toward a serene harbor where the soul can finally breathe. This isn't just Buddhist philosophy whispered from distant mountains. It is a living, breathing truth that every soul aching for calm can embrace. When you release the desperate grip on outcomes, you open space for what truly belongs to you to arrive naturally, effortlessly, and on time. The moment you accept that what is meant for you will come, the tightness in your chest loosens, and a profound peace begins to grow. It's not about abandoning your dreams or desires, but about understanding the dance between desire and surrender. There is a fierce beauty in this balance, a deep knowing that life's gifts cannot be forced or rushed. That sometimes the most powerful action is stillness itself. I've walked the jagged path where clinging to what I thought I needed only brought pain and disappointment. But in the ashes of that struggle, I found a quiet strength, a wisdom that teaches us to trust the invisible hand of destiny. The stories and parables of Buddhism are not just tales from the past. They are mirrors reflecting our inner battles and triumphs, showing us how to release what no longer serves us and open our arms wide to life's unfolding mysteries. This journey is not easy. Detachment demands that we confront our deepest fears of loss, failure, and loneliness. Yet, within that confrontation lies a gateway to liberation, where we reclaim the power to live fully and consciously, no longer prisoners to craving or aversion. Imagine a life where the chaos outside no longer shakes the calm within, where you greet each moment with open eyes and an open heart, knowing you are exactly where you need to be. This is the promise of detachment, a promise not of emptiness, but of a rich, vibrant freedom that fills the soul. So step with me into this sacred dance between holding on and letting go, and discover the timeless power that awaits when you embrace detachment as your guide. Because, truly, if it's meant for you, it will come. And until then, peace is not somewhere else. It is here, now, waiting quietly inside you. Imagine standing at the edge of a river, watching the water rush past, never the same, never still, yet the river itself remains. This is the essence of detachment. Not the cold void of indifference but the vibrant embrace of change. The monk's shattered cup is a powerful symbol, reminding us that all we hold dear is fragile, fleeting. Yet, how often do we trap ourselves in invisible prisons built from clinging? We clutch relationships with trembling hands, terrified of the emptiness that might follow. We anchor ourselves to hopes and dreams long gone, crafting chains from memories that no longer serve us. But here's the truth no one dares speak loud enough. Holding on tightly is not protection. It's a slow suffocation of the soul. In my own journey, I've witnessed how grasping too fiercely only breeds suffering. I've felt the sting of loss made unbearable by refusal to accept what is inevitable. Yet, when I began to understand detachment as liberation, not loss, a profound shift occurred. Detachment frees us to love without possession, to engage fully without fear, to move with life's currents rather than against them. Buddhism teaches that attachment births suffering because it demands permanence in a world defined by impermanence. This insight, though ancient, pierces straight through the noise of our frantic lives. It challenges us to find strength not in possessions or circumstances, but in the unshakable core of our being, our capacity to accept change, to release without regret. Like the river flowing effortlessly around rocks and bends, we can learn to surrender to life's ebb and flow. Resistance only breeds pain. Surrender cultivates peace. Yet, surrender is no passive defeat. It is an act of fierce courage. It is standing amid chaos and saying, "I will not be broken by what I cannot hold." In that moment, the soul is liberated. This is the art of detachment, an ongoing practice of releasing illusion, shedding the weight of false securities, and reclaiming the freedom that comes from embracing life as it is, fluid, unpredictable, breathtakingly transient. And in this dance with impermanence, we find an unexpected gift, the power to live deeply, to love freely, and to be utterly present. Detachment is not about escaping life's pain but about meeting it with open arms. Unafraid and unbound, it is the sacred courage to let go, knowing that by releasing, we make space for new beauty to enter. The shattered cup is not the end but the beginning, a call to awaken, to see beyond illusion, and to set the soul free. Resistance is the silent enemy that drains our energy and clouds our vision. When the disciple learned that suffering springs from resistance, a profound door was unlocked, one that reveals the heart of radical acceptance. This acceptance is no passive surrender to despair. It is a fierce acknowledgement of reality in its raw, unfiltered form. I've grappled with this truth many times. When life's plans crumble and expectations shatter, the instinct is to rebel against the pain, to scream at the universe, demanding fairness. Yet, this fight only tightens the chains around our spirit. Radical acceptance invites us to lower those weapons of resistance and meet life head-on, embracing even the harshest truths without flinching. Imagine the archer standing in a storm, his hands steady despite the wind that bends his aim. He knows some forces are beyond control, but his mastery lies in adapting, in persistence without bitterness. This story reflects a deeper wisdom. Acceptance empowers action by clarifying where our power truly lies. When we cease battling the uncontrollable, we free ourselves to act with clarity, creativity, and grace. The mind's tendency to rewrite reality into convenient narratives is a cunning trap. It whispers, "If only things were different," and pulls us into cycles of regret, anger, and denial. But each moment spent resisting reality is a moment lost to suffering we could have eased. Acceptance is radical because it demands full presence, even with the pain, disappointment, and uncertainty that shake us to our core. It asks us to stand firm, not by ignoring hardship, but by witnessing it without judgment or distortion. In my experience, this is where true freedom begins, not in changing the world to fit our desires, but in changing our relationship to the world. It's a profound shift from victimhood to empowerment, from chaos to calm. Acceptance doesn't extinguish hope. It nourishes it by grounding us in what is, so we can navigate what comes next with wisdom and resilience. This doesn't mean we become passive spectators of life's storms. Rather, acceptance is the steady foundation from which bold, wise choices arise. It's the courage to face the wave, dive into its depths, and trust that even amidst turbulence, we have the strength to swim, to rise, to transform, to embrace reality without resistance is to claim sovereignty over our inner world. The only realm where true power resides. It is a call to awaken, to release futile battles, and to dance with life as it unfolds, unpredictable, beautiful, and infinitely alive. Life's currents carry us beyond the narrow shores of judgment, sweeping us into realms where the meanings of luck and misfortune blur into one intricate tapestry. The old monk's story is a profound reminder that fate dances to rhythms our minds cannot always grasp. That what we see as blessing or curse are but fleeting labels cast upon the vast sea of existence. I have often wrestled with this truth myself, struggling to find meaning in the chaos that life thrusts before me. I've known the sting of loss so sharp it seemed unbearable, yet in the aftermath, unexpected doors have opened, paths I never dared to imagine. Trusting life's flow is a radical surrender, a letting go of the desperate need to control outcomes and instead opening our hearts to the unfolding mystery. It is the humbling act of admitting that our vision is limited, that life's grand design is woven with threads invisible to our eyes. This trust does not erase pain or disappointment. It invites us to lean into these experiences with courage, knowing they may carry seeds of transformation. In the moments when fear tempts us to resist change, when uncertainty threatens to paralyze, embracing this faith becomes a lifeline, like the monk, who sees beyond the surface and accepts each turn with equanimity. We too can cultivate a perspective that frees us from the tyranny of immediate judgment. There is a sacred patience here, a deep knowing that time reveals what the present moment conceals. This patience is not passive waiting but an active openness to the wisdom embedded in life's timing. We learn to flow with the seasons of our existence, understanding that sometimes the hardest storms bring the richest growth. Life's flow is not always gentle, it is wild, unpredictable, and often challenging. Yet within its wildness lies a fierce beauty that demands our trust. To resist is to drain our spirit. To trust is to align with a force greater than ourselves, one that carries us toward our true purpose. I have come to see trust not as naive hope but as a profound strength, a rebellion against the illusion of control that suffocates our joy. It is in surrendering to life's flow that we find the courage to face uncertainty, the grace to accept what is, and the wisdom to recognize blessings disguised as trials. The story of the monk and his son echoes in every twist and turn of our journeys. It calls us to release our tight grip on what should be and to open wide to what is, knowing that the unfolding of fate and timing holds the key to a life lived deeply and fully. When we trust the flow, we move from resistance to acceptance, from fear to faith, and from fragmentation to wholeness. This is the alchemy of life, the transformation that happens when we stop fighting the current and learn to swim with its powerful, mysterious rhythm. The restless mind, like that muddy water, churns endlessly, blurring our vision and stealing our calm. Meditation offers a mirror, not to banish thoughts, but to witness them with gentle clarity, like clouds passing across an open sky. In my experience, the hardest part isn't silencing the mind, it's refusing to be swept away by its storms. When I first began meditating, my thoughts crashed like thunder, relentless and demanding. Yet, gradually, I learned that peace isn't found by fighting the noise but by embracing it without resistance. Meditation invites us to become the calm observer in the eye of the storm. It reveals a profound truth. Thoughts are transient visitors, not permanent residents. This shift transforms how we relate to ourselves in the world. Instead of being prisoners to every worry or craving, we become liberated witnesses, able to respond rather than react. The science behind meditation confirms what ancient wisdom long held: our brains can rewire, healing from stress and cultivating resilience. This isn't magic. It's the mind's natural capacity awakened through consistent practice. But beyond health benefits lies a deeper, more sacred gift: the direct experience of impermanence. Meditation uncovers the fluidity of our inner landscape, how emotions swell and recede, how pain fades, how even joy is a fleeting ripple. This awareness softens our grip on suffering and desire, allowing us to breathe freely amidst life's ebb and flow. I've seen how meditation can turn despair into hope, confusion into clarity, chaos into stillness. It does not promise a perfect mind, but a mind awake, alive to the present moment with all its raw beauty and complexity. In a world clamoring for our attention, meditation is a radical act of self-love and rebellion. It claims back the fragments of our scattered minds, stitching them into wholeness. The disciples' muddy water clears not because the dirt vanishes instantly, but because patience and presence allow the sediment to settle naturally. In this settling, we find not emptiness, but spaciousness, a sanctuary where the mind can rest and the soul can breathe. Meditation teaches us to sit with discomfort, to hold uncertainty without fear, and to watch the relentless flicker of thoughts without being consumed. It is a journey inward that transforms the outer world. For when our minds find peace, everything around us shifts in resonance. This practice is not escape. It is the most profound engagement with life's unfolding. It is the gateway to wisdom, compassion, and freedom. Meditation is the art of turning turmoil into tranquility, noise into silence, and confusion into clarity. It is the quiet revolution that awakens us to the profound truth. Peace is not a distant destination but a seed planted within, waiting patiently to bloom. Control is the illusion we clutch desperately, believing it shields us from chaos, pain, and disappointment. But standing by that flowing river, watching water glide around obstacles with grace, we see a deeper truth. Resistance fractures us, while surrender mends. In my own life, I have wrestled fiercely with the urge to steer every outcome, only to discover that this grip tightens the noose of anxiety and frustration. The harder I fought to control, the more fragmented I became, my spirit frayed by endless worry and unmet expectations. Yet, when I finally learned to release, to trust the river's course rather than my fragile plans, a profound freedom blossomed. Letting go doesn't mean passivity or giving up. It means moving with life's currents, adapting, flowing, and creating without attachment to the end result. The man clinging to the branch over the abyss is a haunting image of our own resistance, afraid to surrender because we imagine the fall will destroy us. But paradoxically, that release is the very act that saves us, carrying us to safer shores we could never reach by holding tight. Acceptance of uncertainty is the gateway to courage. When we stop fearing the unknown, we open doors to possibilities invisible to the controlled mind. Detachment invites us to engage fully in our passions, relationships, and dreams without the suffocating burden of outcome obsession. Like an artist who paints purely for the love of creation, not for fame or fortune, we find joy in the process itself, our actions becoming expressions of freedom rather than chains of expectation. This shift transforms every moment into an opportunity for growth and grace. Even amid challenges, life is not a rigid script to be mastered but an ever-changing dance demanding flexibility and trust. The universe flows endlessly, and our peace depends on our willingness to move with it rather than against it. Letting go of control is a radical act of faith in life's intelligence, a surrender that does not weaken but empowers. In surrender, we discover strength beyond our imagining, a calm center from which true creativity and joy arise. It is a fierce acceptance that life's unpredictability is not our enemy but our greatest teacher. When we flow with the universe instead of resisting, we become like the river itself, resilient, adaptable, and eternally alive. This is the art of living fully, not by clinging to the illusion of control, but by trusting the profound wisdom of letting go. Compassion is a force both delicate and fierce, a balm that soothes wounds unseen yet deeply felt. The monk's quiet question about the broken wing pierces through the chaos of self-blame, revealing a truth often forgotten: we cannot heal what we relentlessly punish. In my own life, I've carried the weight of harsh self-judgment, believing that relentless criticism would spur me forward, but instead, it chained me in cycles of shame and paralysis. True growth blossomed only when I dared to extend the same tenderness inward that I easily offered others. Self-compassion is not weakness. It is the courageous act of embracing our flawed humanity with open arms. It dismantles the prison of guilt and opens the door to radical healing. Loving kindness meditation becomes a revolutionary practice, softly whispering to the heart words it desperately needs to hear. May I be whole. May I be free. May I forgive. These phrases, repeated again and again, dissolve the hardened layers of self-rejection, awakening a gentle strength that fuels transformation. But compassion does not stop at the self, it reaches outward, weaving connection where division once reigned. Understanding that others act from their own pain and limitations shifts our perspective from judgment to empathy. This is a radical invitation to hold firm boundaries with kindness, to choose peace over the corrosive fires of anger and hatred. I have witnessed how anger, though fiery and consuming, never brought resolution, only more suffering. Compassion, by contrast, breaks the cycle, offering a path to freedom for both ourselves and those we encounter. It asks us to see beyond surface actions into the tangled roots of fear and hurt beneath. This vision does not excuse harm but challenges us to respond with wisdom rather than retribution. In this way, compassion becomes an unstoppable force of healing, a river that flows through wounds, washing away bitterness and leaving clarity in its wake. It teaches us that healing begins not by erasing mistakes but by embracing them as part of our shared human journey. When we cultivate compassion, we cultivate a sacred space within ourselves where forgiveness, peace, and love can thrive. This sacred space empowers us to move forward unburdened by the stones of guilt and resentment, lighting a path toward wholeness that invites others to follow. Compassion transforms suffering into strength, fear into courage, and isolation into belonging. It is the heart's revolution, the soul's liberation, and the ultimate act of love for ourselves and the world. Transformation is not a lightning strike but a slow dawn, each moment a step on a path paved by patience and persistence. The disciples' question and the master's calm reply remind us that rushing breeds frustration, while steady walking opens doors we never imagined. Integrating Buddhist teachings into daily life is a profound journey, not one of perfection, but of compassionate persistence. Each day offers a new canvas to practice detachment, to cherish without clinging, to embrace with gratitude while releasing the grip of fear. When losses come, feel their weight without letting them anchor your soul. Acceptance becomes our compass, guiding us through storms with clarity, not resignation. It asks us to pause each morning and ask, what can I truly accept today? From this place, wise action arises naturally, not from struggle but from harmony with reality. Trusting life's unfolding is a radical surrender to mystery, a bold stance that seeks meaning in every twist and turn. When plans unravel, instead of despair, we cultivate curiosity. What is life teaching me here? How is this shaping my growth? Meditation anchors us in presence, a sacred pause amid chaos. Even a few mindful breaths weave stillness into the fabric of our busy minds. Nurturing clarity and peace, letting go of control is an act of faith, a release of the illusion that we command the world. We do our best and then surrender outcomes, freeing ourselves from the exhaustion of obsession. Compassion colors our journey, not as a grand gesture but through countless small acts, gentle words, patient listening, kindness toward ourselves when we stumble. This path is neither straight nor flawless. There will be moments when fear tightens its grip, when old habits of resistance flare up, when patience wears thin. Yet, the true practice lies in returning, again and again, to these principles. Welcoming ourselves with the same compassion we extend to others. Buddhism teaches us to dance with life's rhythms, to move gracefully through change, to find freedom in surrender. Each day is a fresh opportunity to let go more deeply, trust more fully, and live with greater peace. If these teachings speak to your heart, join this journey by subscribing to explore deeper insights and practical guidance. Share your story in the comments. How has life shown you that every unfolding moment carries its own perfect timing? Your experience may be the light that guides another. Together, let us walk this path of awakening, patience, and endless transformation.